Talent Beyond Boundaries, but if you're cool, they're called TBB. They're pioneering a new solution to the global refugee crisis, one that is helping to fill skill gaps and drive economic growth, whilst also delivering a profound humanitarian benefit. TBB facilitate international recruitment opportunities for displaced talent and work with governments to open new visa pathways that are accessible to refugees. Here to tell us more is TBB's Australia and New Zealand co-director, Sathya Gnanakaran. Woo!
Good evening, everyone. What a privilege it is to be here tonight. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'd like all of you to meet Samira. Samira is from Afghanistan. She is a finance professional, she's a journalist, she's a women's rights defender, she's a swimmer and a wife. She was living and thriving in Afghanistan at a time where the doors of education, careers, and all other opportunities were wide open. Fast forward to August 2021, when the Taliban usurped control of Afghanistan. I don't know if you remember, but across the news channels, you'd see images of hundreds of people at Kabul airport scrambling onto an already full plane on the tarmac because people were trying to escape. Samira was horrified because suddenly overnight, all her dreams, professional and otherwise, were just shut down. She wasn't allowed to work. She wasn't allowed to study. She had to be accompanied by a male relative wherever she went. And she had to wear the burqa against her will. Her life then came under threat. As a publicly visible women's rights defender, she basically had to flee Afghanistan with her family. That forced her on a dangerous journey across the borders to Pakistan, not knowing what her future was going to hold, or for her family. Fast forward again, 27th of May, 2023, that's just 3 days ago. It's been a year since Samira and her family permanently migrated to Australia on an employer-sponsored skilled visa to work as a finance professional with Hachette, one of Australia's leading publication companies. How is this possible? Talent Beyond Boundaries. TBB made this possible. You see, there's 100 million people displaced around the world, and that number is growing sadly. We do have humanitarian programs. Australia participates, Canada participates, and everyone does their bit. But we know that they're limited by numbers, and that 100 million people displaced cannot all be going for 13,000 places in a humanitarian program. There needs to be more options. So TBB works with governments around the world to open up skilled migration as another pathway for refugees to be able to move to a future of safety and security, but based on their skills. And TBB, as the #1 charity in the world doing this work and the only charity in Australia doing this work, is really building the evidence base by matching jobs for refugees internationally to show governments that there needs to be permanent change to how we view refugees, that they're people with skills and talents that can contribute to our economies, not just a vulnerable population that need support. The interesting thing is, over half of the population of refugees who are displaced are of working age. And yes, they had to abandon their belongings when they were forced to flee their situations, but they continue to carry their skills and experience because they had flourishing careers before they became displaced. The other thing we're faced with is that 3 out of 4 high-income countries are reporting that they cannot fill their skills gaps, and it's impacting their economies. So how do you match the two? Refugees, you'd be surprised, can't participate in international recruitment. And that's because their skills are simply not visible. And so TBB, one of our key roles is using technology to make their skills visible. Our talent catalogue. We currently have 65,000 registrants on that talent catalogue. 65,000, and that number's growing by the day. We've got healthcare professionals, IT workers, finance professionals, skilled tradespeople, aged care workers, and that talent pool is just growing. So how do we harness this? How do we harness the potential? The other question you're probably having is, why do we need a skilled migration pathway, a separate one that's for refugees? Well, and being an immigration lawyer, I actually practiced in skilled migration for 15 years before I joined TBB. You never turn your mind to refugees being skilled migrants. And so the system is built in a way that it locks them out. And they're locked out because simply they're not going to have all the documents that you require for a work visa. And why is that? If you're fleeing war and conflict, you're just going to up and run with your family. You're not going to go, oh, I better get my degree certificate, better get my pay slips, better get employment references. Oh, I might need to do a skills assessment. I better get my transcript. It's just not practical. But does it mean they don't have the skills? No. And so TBB's role is to really work with governments to say, allow employers to test the talent. Allow them to see who's out there and go through an international recruitment process facilitated by TBB to find the talent that they need in a new and innovative way. Since July 2021, TBB has been implementing the Skilled Refugee Pilot Program. And what that allows is it removes the barriers that are largely documentary for refugees to actually access skilled migration, but it also enables employers to tap into a talent pool that hasn't been tapped into before. And in that, TBB provides a win-win-win solution, a rare thing. A win for refugees because we're opening up another pathway for them to seek a future of safety and security. A win for employers because they're innovatively filling their skill shortages with this talent pool. And of course, a win for Australia. Australia is not only filling skill shortages and helping to build our nation economically, but we're making a profound humanitarian impact in a way that is building our nation to enrich it both economically and socially. TBB's Australia program has already matched over 100 refugees, talented refugees with Australian businesses. And as part of that, we've also, that includes Afghan women like Samira that you saw at the beginning. The X-Files initiative, as it was coined, was spearheaded by a group of senior executive women who wanted to secure employment opportunities for 50 Afghan women. Our ask of you tonight is to support our work to secure employment for another 15 Afghan women. And by doing that, we are not just helping those 15 Afghan women and their families. We're actually pioneering the possibility of unlocking the hundreds of millions of people displaced and opening a pathway that will impact thousands. If we raise $50,000 tonight or more, we'll be able to secure employment, but importantly, we will be able to transition the pilot we're running to a permanent and a world-first permanent program that provides a migration solution that thousands more can benefit. The impact of the solution is best described in Samira's words. I feel freedom and peace of mind, and I'm no longer afraid, of losing my life. I can plan for tomorrow, next week, next year, without hesitation. I am now working, using my skills, and making a contribution. Thank you. Sorry.
All right, everybody, round of applause as they return. Woo! No, we're so grateful to have you join us again. And Talent Beyond Boundaries tonight has raised $31,600.